around keys because you can't hurt them.
What's that? You would like to slap around comic book keys because you can't hurt them? Well, no, that's actually a false thing.
This
So
one?
anyway, it's Logan here from Bad Guy Comics. We got a problem on our hands, and the problem is we got a major spine roll on this ASM 194. You know, it's not a pretty book. You know, probably. You know, I'm thinking that it's gonna be probably a 5.5, 6 when we're done. We got lots of overspray. We got all kinds of you know, creasing and stuff. I mean, it'll definitely look better with a press, but that front cover on this book is always tough if you got a bunch of wear, little, you know, chunks missing. So I don't know. I was like, it's a, you know, this big thing usually takes it down to a 6, and then everything else 5.5 in my mind. So anyway, I was tasked with fixing this spine roll on this book. So I'm just doing some hillbilly Canadian type pressing on this book. We're heating up the kettle, if you can hear it in the background. We got some boards. This isn't the appropriate size board just because it's not my book and I don't really care. We got like a 2x4 and we got 2 big C-clamps. So we're gonna try to fix this bitch real fast and then we'll stick it in the big press. Any comments from the peanut gallery?
I got nothing.
No? How do you think? Is it success or fail?
I think it'll get rid of the spine roll.
You think so?
Yeah.
See, the thing is with the spine roll, I've seen guys, they try to roll the spine, and I'm like, well, I don't really like that process too much. I'm gonna try to do a simpler process here. I actually have a idea for a patent on this, but the problem is, where's the marketability and the money that could be achieved through the revenue of a patent on fixing out spine rolls on comics? There's got to be a lot of spine rolls on comics. Anyway.
I know some pressers, they press the book flat and then refold it.
Yeah, so they open it up,
Yeah.
right? So they'll usually humidify it first, right, with a kettle, or just press it like that, flat, and then they'll even it out like that, you know, kind of thing. As you can see, wow, like that's a huge, huge spine roll, right? So, Josh, or sorry, is that your stage name?
Yeah.
When you were stripping, how many loonies did you get with a name called Josh?
Oh, that's good.
No, just make this even. Just make this even. I want to highlight to everybody how much off-center the spine is. It's tough to do when I'm holding the phone. Yeah, just keep damaging in the book. We don't really care. It's not ours. All the conservative people are like, oh my God, what's he doing in that comic? No, make this flat. Just make that square.
Well, I'm trying to, but
God, I want to beat you up right now and throw you out in the minus 45 degrees Celsius weather out here in Saskatchewan.
pretty,
What the hell? Yeah, just like that. No, don't push down on. Just highlight. All right, so that's a big difference. So what I want to do with this book, I got the kettle going. We're going to clamp this guy in just like this. Keep this square. We're going to humidify the spine. That should relax it. We're just going to put like a book on there to weigh it down with the humidity and get it to lay flat. And that should pretty much fix the spine roll in my mind. I've done this once before with like a clipboard clamp, but I'm going to do the 2x4s and C-clamps because I'm a farm boy and that's how we do shit. All right, let's go. So what do we need, Josh? What do we got to do here? You hold your fingers. I'm going to get the boards.
I'm basically going to do this and you do the rest.
So how much money did you make stripping, by the way?
Not a lot.
Like any loonies thrown at you, or were they at your face because you're so ugly?
Literally peanuts.
So you worked at a circus?
Yeah, kind of with the primates.
Sorry, prime mapes? Is that
Yeah,
like,
as a prime ape, you know, not a secondary ape, but a prime ape.
oh yeah, is that like on those movies, Planet from the Apes? Is that like a triquel or something? What is that called?
Yeah.
Porkwall?
Troglodyte or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Troglodyte is from ancient time. That's like millions of years ago. If we're going back that, wow. I don't think we have enough recording time. Anyway, I'm going to grab the clamps. This is all in my kitchen, obviously. This board, you know what? I think if you made something like this, the length of the comic, we're just kind of fudging this in right now, so we're not going to do that because it's not our comic and we don't really care about this guy. He's a competitor of mine. He's a good guy, but he, you know, he wants me to press his comic for free. Oh, he just made me kill all these Iron Mans with my 2x4. But anyway.
They weren't that high grade anyway.
So you can pick that up. Don't be so careful with that, Josh. Put that on that board. So let's put it like this. No, you want to put it like that. And make it square. Make it square in there. I know. Grab our clamps.
Work.
Get our fingers out of her. Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah. Put this. Oh.
Yeah.
Put that board on top of that to keep that square. Now, like I said, this should probably be the longer than the comic. So you feel like you're square there?
Yeah, sure.
It's not your comic.
It's not my comic. Yeah.
Okay, but if it was,
if it was, I would still feel very confident.
Okay,
yeah.
So now we gotta clamp it. I have to relax these. Can you help me out? I only got 2 hands here.
Yeah.
Can you hold that? Wow, our hands touch. No.
What do you want me to do here?
I want you to pull down. Oh yeah, pull it. Oh yeah, hold on. No, what are you pulling down on that for? Thank you. All right. Wow, you always make it longer than it should be. That's weird.
Okay.
When are hot girls gonna show up on comic book videos? That's all I want to know. Any cosplay girls out there, please help me out with this clamping, because he wants to make me longer than I am, and it's so strange. So anyway, so I put lots of force on there, so you can let go of the comic. So are we good? Are we square?
Yep.
So now we gotta humidify that with the kettle. How are you gonna do that, Josh?
I just pour the water on it.
You pour the water? No, shit. You don't pour the. You're crazy. Okay, so I want you to hold the comic vertical without. Yeah, I grabbed an extra long clamp just to cause you difficulty because it's funny that way. I'm gonna turn back on this kettle. Oh, watch out for the hands. Sorry for the amateur video. I'm not gonna do any editing, by the way, because. Why would I be Bad Guy Comics if I did any editing? That's weird. Like, you want me to talk like a wrestler and shit? Woo! Who's that guy in wrestling? WWE?
Macho Man?
No. Macho Man. No.
WWE?
Oh, God. Famous blonde guy? Come on, man.
Famous blonde?
Woo! That was his thing. Okay, bring that over here. We're going to see this. Yeah, Ric Flair. There we go. So I'm gonna hold down this kettle, because we're hillbillies. And best way to. Yeah, well, don't bust my window.
No promises.
Oh, we got a 2x4. Yeah, just keep steaming the yeah, there you go, just like that. But hold it closer down. You're not gonna hurt the comic. It's winter time. It evaporates. Even lower. There you go. Just hold it in like a spot for like a second, and then move it just a second, kind of thing. Ow, it's getting hot.
Quit touching it.
She never said that. Steam it up, steam it up. Wow, the guy that gave me this comic watching this video is really gonna go, what the hell did I just do? And if we look at how you clamped it, you did a pretty good job there.
Thanks.
Well, if you weren't rubbing it against the kettle. But,
well, I can't see what I'm doing here.
Neither can I. How many drinks have you had tonight, by the way?
5.
5? Well, that's a slow night. Do you like your life? Or you hate your kidneys? Which is it?
Both.
Whoa, don't drop it on the... You can introduce stains. So if a bunch of amateurs like this could get rid of a spine roll, just imagine what a professional could do. Okay, yeah. All right. I think
that's
after...
good.
Well, just wait till...
One more pass?
Yeah, but you keep dropping it on the... Like, is that heavy? Like, you're a big guy. Like, how much does that weigh? How much does this wood... Like, this wood... Are you used to touching wood like this constantly, or
Bigger.
bigger wood? Yeah.
Bigger wood, yeah.
What's his name?
Darnell.
Oh, wow. Is he a hockey player?
No, football.
All right, let's go back to the island with this contraption. Oh yeah, laid it flat, perfect. Now go grab a book from somewhere over there that you don't know, which will take you 5 minutes, and I can talk about it. Go around the other side.
Oh, you just want like a square bound or something?
Yeah, like a heavy book. Yeah, over there, perfect. Whoa, you grabbed a heavy PC fix-it thing. Hurry before the humidity goes away. Gently place it down.
Oh, it probably should be longer even, maybe.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. I would have put the spine there, but whatever.
Oh, just like it has a ridge on it, right?
Just because we're hillbillies, let's do it like that. Just leave it like that. Push it down. It still looks like it's got. Now, this little lap here, that's because this board here is as long as the comic, and you get a lot flatter. We could have clamped it right to this island, but unfortunately it would be tough to steam it. Had Josh pulled out my portable steamer, which he should have done instead of the kettle, but you know, he's simple sometimes, whatever.
I pulled it. You're the one that decided on the kettle.
Well, this is kind of hacked together at a late Friday night. It's Ukrainian Christmas. If anybody knows what that is. Oh, it's over?
Oh, it's midnight there.
12
o'clock even.
12 o'clock. Happy Ukrainian Christmas over now. When's New Year's?
14th, I guess, a week from now.
Oh, geez. It's a non-stop party here in Saskatchewan. We're in Regina, the city that rhymes with fun, if you know what that means, ladies.
There's no ladies watching this video. Ever.
There's tons of ladies watching this video. What are you talking about?
For the eye candy.
Yeah, this, I think if someone wants to buy this PC upgrade and maintenance guide by Mark.
This thing was $58.
Over 1.5 million copies sold. I think I paid that.
That's a bestseller.
2003.
Oh, with inflation, that's at least $100 book.
Did I ever tell you about the story when I listed a bunch of computer equipment for sale on like a, I forget, like a website or whatever, local, you know, like a DJ
newfangled website things.
Yeah, so this guy comes by. I had a little box of components, like a force feedback, Microsoft joystick, flight simulator games, all this kind of stuff. Like, I think I was asking $150 for this entire big box of computer components. And he comes by and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm interested." And I had a Windows 98 CD in it, and that's what he seemed to be really interested in. He's like, "Oh, cool, you got original Windows 98 CD," and this was like 5 years ago, so I mean, not too many people would have that, right?
Vintage.
And I had the original PC that I installed this on too, because I'm an IT guy by trade, so whatever. So he comes by, and me being trusty, he's like, "Can I write a check for this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." It was garbage anyway. I was gonna throw it. I was gonna take it to recycling if I didn't sell it. So if it's a bum check, it's a bum check, whatever. So he starts writing this check, and I'm like, "Well, his name was John or whatever, and this check is like Martha, somebody, whatever." And I asked him, like,
"Could have been his wife."
No, it was obviously a fake check, and he was just being very shifty. And I'm like, "Yeah, I know it's a bad check, but I don't really care. This stuff is garbage." So basically, he took away my garbage, which, I mean, to some people would have some worth, and the check bounced.
And you got another $10 or $20 charge from your bank, and
I did get a $10 charge on my bank statement for NSF check, not sufficient funds, for you that don't understand the acronym of checks, because we're all in cryptocurrency right now because we're in the future. And so I could put in a complaint on the site, and this was a garage sale, I believe, which is you guys wouldn't know about in the United States. But anyway, it's a online selling vessel like Etsy or eBay, and they have these administrators on there that are supposed to basically police these transactions. So I submit this to this lady, and she's like, "Well, why did you accept a check, and why you accept cash?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Well, because I was trusting people. They had a good rating on this site, and I was like, okay, well, why can't I trust these people?" So anyway, she made me feel really stupid, but at the end of the day, it was just garbage.
Why would you take a check?
So anyway, that's the lull of the story.
Always blame the victim, eh?
So if you're still with us, let's pull off that book and let's see how we did. I don't like how it did with that. Oh, good. That was awesome, Josh. That you caught that and put that book exactly to the back to the spine roll. It was sitting flat. So let's. You got that now?
You want to try and steal
No,
it
no,
out?
no! Don't hold on to that.
Oh, yeah.
Just you got that?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Do you know what we're doing?
Here,
Do
take
you
it off the
understand
slab.
physics? Have you ever taken physics?
Once in a while.
Do you know what gravity is?
Yeah, gravity always works. Nothing's gonna.
What
fall
about
all the way
time?
down. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
What about string theory?
Oh no, that's way above me.
Do you know what tampons are?
Yes.
Okay, all right,
Passing
all right, all right,
acquaintance.
all right. So now that we just about dropped that off, and it looks exactly the same as when you left it. And it actually looks off center now, Josh.
It does, like the top kind
Like
of.
you really did something to this book that I don't understand.
Physics, string theory, quantum mechanics.
Okay, no, don't fix it by hand. Don't put pressure on it. All right. So, is it still wet?
It's moist.
Okay, well, let's humidify it again. One more time. Trial and error. Let's heat up the kettle. You know, I have multiple handheld humidifiers in this pressing facility, but whatever. Let's
just do it this way.
layman. Try not to bounce it off the kettle multiple
Well,
times.
now that I can actually see what I'm doing, because
if you burn your hand, I don't have a first aid kit, by the way.
what?
Yeah, no. This is not an OH&S friendly area.
Clearly.
I'm gonna hold this button down until it burns me, which it did last time multiple times. I probably have to go to the hospital actually. Well, how come you're only doing like a third of the book?
What do you mean?
And why do you keep putting your hand in the middle of the camera? Why can't you use your other hand?
Because it got hot when I got to that end.
Oh, well. Ow.
Yeah.
Ow, my finger hurts. This one. Ow. I got a white spot on it now. I think I'm gonna die. See, oh, the comics are wavy perfect. Let's bring it back. So now let's do it the other way.
What? This way?
No.
No.
No. No. Let's do that way.
Okay.
Clamp it against there. Make it square. Put the 2x4 this way. I'm just making this shit up.
Clearly.
Actually, well, let's put it on. Let's get rid of this piece of grade book for a second. Right there, so you can clamp it. Yeah, just like that. Make sure it's butted up against this side. We'll have to make one of these boards, actually.
Yeah.
It's tough to get that square, isn't it?
Yep. Especially after a few drinks.
Thought you had two.
Yeah. Well, few, two, couple. It's all the same.
Actually, it's not. Like, if you were to get pulled over, it definitely makes a difference. Oh, good stuff. You got that? You got it this time, or are you gonna drop it?
Hey, I haven't dropped it yet. Close.
I'm clamp guy.
Okay.
There we go. We're just doing this on Hillbilly Island stuff. I don't know how you're gonna press that spine roll down. Oh. But, okay, Okay, you good? You golden?
Yep.
Square? Now what are you gonna do?
I don't know. This is you winging it.
Well, if this board was
It's longer, yeah.
you see, and then you could put pressure on it.
You have like something else the same thickness?
Oh, I do. Oh,
Something you can show on camera.
See, this is dry already. Like
Yeah, it doesn't take long.
No, not winter time. It just sucks up the humidity, right? So that's one of the problems with submitting to CGC and the long wait times is when you press books and humidity from going from a cold climate to a really moist, hot climate like Florida, I could foresee issues with potential grading differences and disappointment in the future. So now what's your suggestion, Josh? We're already 20 minutes into this video and we have accomplished nothing.
Sell it.
What do you think we should sell this Black Cat 195 for?
Well, probably less than the grade we started.
What's a ASM 194 for one, not a 195, because the 195 is
Second Black Cat.
the origin, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
And you call yourself a comic book guy and you didn't even know what the difference between
I wasn't
a 194 and a
I
195?
wasn't listening to you. I assumed you said 194.
I feel like I drank more than you, but yet I am more intelligent. I feel like that book's gonna fall down and put a big line crease in that cover of that comic.
It won't hurt it.
We need another board. You know what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to stop this video. We're gonna have to get a similar board to make this longer. Probably put a line crease in this comic all the way down. If we don't, I'll be amazed, but it's not our comic, so we don't really care. And we're pressing this for free or $35, one of the two. Is that a fair price for all this? Look, we're already 22 minutes into this video and we have not done anything. So this is the problem with pressing that people don't understand. It takes time. This is the process.
You should just press it flat and then refolded it.
Do you want to try to press it flat?
It'd be fun.
Okay,
What's the
well,
worst that
I
could
got
happen?
many comics with spine rules. We could try the difference. This particular process is experimental, and obviously you haven't thought this through quite to the extent that you should have. But I cannot fault you. You're not exactly an engineer.
No. Let's play one on TV.
Well, we're on TV right now, if you think about it. And if you ever watch the show Rick and Morty,
Oh, it's a great show.
do you know the episode where they go to the planet of useless sperm?
Oh, yeah, I wrote that one.
And the useless sperm eat the other useless sperm? And they go, do you know anything about comics? And you ask them questions about the ASM 194 and they think it's a ASM 195, which I don't know where I was going with this, and I only watched a couple episodes of Rick and Morty the other night.
Good show. You should watch it all.
Okay. So we're gonna pause the video. We're gonna add a board to this. We're gonna introduce a line crease in it.
And we should get a hammer.
I have a hammer, and maybe we'll actually get a decent humidification device to fix this spine roll. But anyway, I'm positive this process will work if someone actually squared up the book, but they, yeah. 2x4 is not exactly square either. Yeah, I don't know if we can actually put this on the internet this would actually ruin my reputation as a good presser, but
Yeah.
you know what, I think I'm pretty positive it's all gonna work out. Like, do you think this is gonna work out?
Yeah, well, or it won't. It's not my books.
Like,
I don't care.
well, so you're saying there's a 50-50 chance?
I think so. Yeah, about 50-50.
50-50. Well, that's pretty. Did you rip this right here?
I was looking at it. I don't think we ripped it. I think it's already there.
I mean, there's a little bit of overspray there. I don't know if someone was doing graffiti or what the hell was going on with this book.
I just need another whiskey, I think, before we go much further.
All right, I'll go pause this video. I'm gonna go get this board to extend it, just like I said 5 minutes ago. So if you're still with us, we're still watching this video. We're gonna eventually fix this comic. We're gonna have to look back at this to see if you introduced this and lowered it to 5.49.
I'm pretty sure the rip was there.
Oh, okay. Well, the guy that owns this comic will be watching this video and be like, I'm never getting him to press anymore.
It's kind of a win-win.
Well, it kind of is, because pressing kind of sucks, actually. All right. Okay. Oh, God. What does that smell? Anyway, oh, look, I found a longer board. It's actually a shelf, is what that other piece was cut from when I did renos in this house. I found an old steam iron, little mini, that I found bought at a garage sale, possibly. I've never used it, actually, so which is perfect for this comic that I don't own. So we're gonna unclamp this comic. I will unclamp it. You hold the board and make sure it doesn't fall over, because you seem to be topsy-turvy there. There we go. All right. Try not to introduce any flaws in that comic anymore.
I'll try not to wreck it any worse.
And then let's put that shelf on that island. Yeah. Things you do on a Friday night for fun. Yeah. I would put it the other way so you can clamp it. Yeah. Looks better. Yeah. Butt it up against the edge of the island. There we go. Yeah, so you got somewhere to clamp there. And you put that comic on there, butt it up against that edge. Well, this is looking better, but be careful of the paint. So make sure the paint's flat. I mean, we're gonna press it again in the big press. You're just trying to fix the spine roll, but is this paint flat? Did you sand it?
Yes.
I don't think you did.
No.
You're being too careful there. So I would just slam that comic against the side, even if you have to roll it up like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's looking good to me. I think that's a ticket. Oh yeah, now you understand how clamps work.
Okay, press them. There we go.
Put tons of pressure on it, keep it tight. All right, what do we got going on there? So we got a comic, we got a spine roll. So I would actually put the cover the other way, because now when you're ironing, you're putting pressure on the cover, right? So let's flip that around. Just because we're gonna use a silicone paper. Oh,
it's just gonna be
it's
harder.
not your comic.
It's gonna be harder to line it up though.
Oh, because of the way the spine roll goes.
Spine roll is, yeah, that's the only way.
Okay.
That's yeah.
Well, if you want to point out flaws in the system, as you go. You're still fighting with that. Don't fight with that. Just push it on the end and make it flat that way, because you're gonna put the board against it. All right. As long as we're decided. You got that? If we don't hit the top 10 on YouTube, I'm just confused about this whole YouTube algorithm shit. So anyway, I'm hesitant with horizontal steaming because of drips, right? So if you want to put that towel beside, oh wow, that got hot. Look at the mark. Yeah, that's too hot. So this particular thing says shot of steam wool. So maybe we should do that. Is it steaming?
I don't see anything.
This thing's probably from 1950. Are you supposed to push this?
Button? Oh.
Oh. Oh, I hear it now. But is it like pushing out water droplets? I've never used this one before.
I really don't see anything, to be honest.
I hear it.
Hear it, I don't see any.
It stinks. It's probably never been used for 50 years. Oh,
there we go. I saw a puff of steam there. Oh yeah.
I don't know who's gonna buy this comic after.
I'll give you $5.
It smells like, you know what? If I had a grandma,
Yes, yeah, that's what it smells like.
is it starting to relax though?
I think so. It looks real comfortable.
I don't like this. I'm gonna do the edge here.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, steam it right in there. That's why I like this steaming the inside of the comic, because if you just do the outside, the inside is still rigid, right? And I feel like it's gonna revert. Oh, Dua Lipa's playing in the background. Oh, I like her.
She's English, not French.
If only I could turn up the volume with this remote instead of having two hands on that black one, the top plus button. As we're doing this, because we're boring people. Hopefully we don't get a copyright infringement now. Wow, what a bunch of hillbillies. Oh, I can't believe they're wrecking these black cat key. Come on. I just feel like this is making puffs of air. It's really hot though. I mean, you can tell that it tried to burn the towel.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, she works. The heating element works like a damn.
just push down on that thing lightly with your fingers. Like, is it moist? Not really?
Really, no. It's warm.
Okay. It's tough in winter.
Is there water still in it?
Yeah, I filled it up. I don't know where it all went. I feel like, lift that comic up. Yeah. How do we hold it like that so I can steam the front a bit? I don't want your fingers to be there because it's hot.
Yeah.
This is a weird steam iron. It's cool. It's like so ancient technology. Sometimes ancient technology is the best. If anybody watches any ancient history, you might want to check out the Hiawatha Comet in Greenland. The crater it created was like 141 miles wide. And they think that it actually almost wiped out civilization in like 12,000 BC, which may explain why history has reset once or more times throughout history. Oh wow, you can see the steam coming out now, right?
Yeah.
So that's why when they find many ancient architectures buried within 20 feet of soil and dirt like that, is caused by this comet or meteor that hit the earth, caused obviously tsunamis, and it caused, at that time, it was an ice age, all the glaciers melt at once, like just vaporized it. So when they talk about the Great Flood in the Bible and Sumerian texts, that was probably the cause of it. It wasn't rain for 40 days and 40 nights. It was, something hit the earth, vaporized a bunch of ice, and at the same time caused a tsunami that caused a global catastrophe, excuse my beer language here, and pretty much reset civilization. So anyway, let's take that out. Let's put that PC upgrade board on there. Let's give her this brown towel that you burnt. My mom made that, by the way, and she's gone. I don't know how you feel about that. Oh gosh. Yep, lay flat. Oh yeah, that looks good. So I'm gonna set this. Wow, I think I paid $2 at a garage sale for this. It looks like mint. It's gonna be pretty handy. Just come back here, Josh. So we have this piece of Teflon paper, which we could have done.
that?
Just lift that book up, see how we're doing. We don't have to wait that long. It should be already sitting flatter. Perfect.
Yep.
Take that away. Grab that piece of Teflon paper. And we're on this crappy, no, flip it the other way. Upside down. There we go. There you go. I'm going to turn down the temperature on this. And then put this Teflon. You should be able to just put light pressure and go back and forth and just iron it. It's in one spot for a long time, which isn't good, but light prep, like a little harder pressure. Yeah, see, that's too hot. It's going too hot. It's going up.
Setting.
Can you hold the iron?
It's fine. It's good. It's good. Yeah.
Push the Teflon. Sorry, my fingers are in the way of the camera. Amateurs. Just go back and forth lightly. Cord keeps sitting. Let's check it again.
Oh, look at that.
Now let's do the center of the book along the 2x4. Can you do that? Because I'm trying to do the camera and it's right along the 2x4. Right along the 2x4. Get the point. Yeah, just like that. A little harder. Don't be shy. It's got this silicone paper. Sorry, I was calling it Teflon. Silicone. This is actually what I press my books with. You can heat it up pretty hot. It's not going to hurt it. And then just check it. That's pretty warm. I think we should set the iron down and take it out of the clamp and then flip it upside down. I don't think you can really set this off.
Yeah.
I don't exactly know. You guys, there's sorry for the fingers on the video, but it's tough to maneuver.
Yeah.
I've had a few drinks. Yeah, let's undo that clamp. There you go. Well, you just pushed on the book when you move the clamp, see? And just flip the book upside down. Now we've got a ridge on that book.
Yep.
No, turn the book 180. Yeah, and then square up the spine again.
Soda, man.
Now, I would suggest putting silicone paper in between that board and that book, but we can't do that. Right? Well, no, we can do that.
Do you have another sheet?
I have multiple sheets, but unfortunately, I am the cameraman. I am the iron guy, and I don't know how many more superheroes I can possibly be right now. What did you do with the piece of paper?
It's right over there.
Why is it all blistered like it's got a bad case of herpes?
Because we
Like, wow, like what did you do to it? I didn't know you could do that to silicone paper, but whatever.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. That way you protect the cover. We should have had one on the bottom of it as well, but it's not our book, so we don't really care. And this is our first time ever doing this.
Oh man.
See, you keep doing that. Now you don't have it square now.
What do you want from me?
Perfection. It's tough to do like that, isn't it? This is why guys press it flat, but there's a reason to this madness. Now I have fixed spine rolls. I have never done it like this, so we're just trying something new.
And it shows.
Well, it's some of it's the help. Some of it's the help, definitely.
I don't think so.
Well, you got the clamp about 5 times the size it needs to be. Like, look at the length of that. Like, oh, sorry, I got your face on video.
Oh, no,
Did you dress up for this video, by the
No.
way? Or were you hoping some hot girls were gonna be here? Okay, so now I got it on low. So I'm just kind of light pressure, as you can see, 2-finger shocker. If you know what that is. Oh, I think I just wrecked a staple on this book.
Oh. Well, just keep going. We'll look at it later.
Maybe everybody would like to see the special book I got today where I had to test your grading abilities on. Thought it was a very interesting book. And coincidentally, we came out with the same grade as a test.
almost like we could work for a grain company.
Well, maybe we should start our own. We could call it blindguycomics.com.
The grades are always the same.
Always inconsistent. All right, so just lift that up for me because I only got 2 hands and one's got an iron. How's that look now? Wow. This looks pretty good, eh? It's a little bit off there, but I think that's marble, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was probably.
Should I iron it just a little bit more?
Yeah, this more. This more.
I think we should just heat it up and maybe just put the book on it a little bit.
What's worse that could happen, dude?
We should sub this now. What do you think? We're gonna get like a 4.99?
Oh, I think at least 5.78.
A 5.78?
Yeah.
Wow. So you're on the fence between 5.5 and a 6?
Yeah, probably.
You didn't even clean this before you pressed it.
Okay, we really work the dirt and grime into it now.
No, you can actually clean it after and then repress it in a normal press. I'm actually putting I would say medium pressure on this right now. Heating it up, just give her a check. You know what, maybe put that book on there for a few seconds. I don't know what to do with this thing. There's like no, like how do you stand this thing? Is there supposed to be a stand for this thing?
Just put it on the old burn cloth.
That already cost me $5. Did I tell you my mom made that before she passed away?
Oh, really? She made this?
Yeah, she's got a textile business.
Had.
Mom, I'm sorry. My friend is so rude to your death. All right.
She doesn't care.
So what do you think we should do after this? Do you think we're golden? Do you think it's going to be good? Good enough?
Yeah, put it in the big press.
You think just get it in the big press, or do we have to humidify it again?
Oh no, it's pretty humidified. It's damp.
You think it's damp?
Oh, it's damp.
You're damp. Like I know. God, what'd you eat? Like broccoli, cauliflower, calamari, and dynamite
Carrots,
rolls? Dynamite
Brussels
rolls?
sprouts.
Brussels sprouts.
Sprouts.
I think you have to unclamp it before you pull out the.
Are you satisfied?
Well, that's.
Not bad.
Let me get my fingers up. All right, lift that up again, Josh. Sorry. Now that I'm hands free, let's go along the spine. Wow, that. This part looks a little bit better. Yeah. Definitely needs a good cleaning. I can just feel. Anyway, let's unclamp it. I feel like that was the failure of a lot of the process, is actually removing the clamp and keeping the book square.
Book is fine.
So we're butted up against this. That looks pretty good along there, eh? Like, it looks pretty square if we flip the book right over. I don't know how you could get it much better.
You're welcome.
You got ridges there, but we'll fix that up on the regular press.
Yeah?
What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's much more we can do here.
Like I said, the surface wasn't it? We should have had another piece of
Paper,
silicone paper, which I got tons of, but I got to clean this comic
We're
before we
pressing
press
this
it.
on a budget. We can't afford all the silicone paper.
Well, and you know what? Like, there's this, whatever this bird poop is right here. But yeah, it's, I don't know, pretty square, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks way better.
So I've seen some guys, they'll finger roll it and try to fix the spine that way, but I feel like that just introduces more spine ticks.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to do that on this copy.
Not on this shelf, eh? But yeah, it looks a lot better with all these wavy prints. Wow, like, yeah, it's not gonna get better than a 5.5 with that crease, I don't think.
Probably not.
Yeah. Do you think George Perez would sign this?
Probably. He'd probably be like, I don't know why I'm signing this. Al Milgrom probably should, but whatever.
Yeah. So as you can see, we didn't exactly practice on a 9.8 ASM 194. We had a practice book. I mean, whatever, it is what it is. And you wouldn't necessarily want to practice on a key. But this was given to us for free as to see what we could do with it, and we're doing what we can with it. So now the next phase in the process is we're gonna let this dry. I'm gonna clean this now that it's all kind of flat. Once it dries out, it's creasy there. Wow, yeah, well. And then we're gonna shove that in the big press and flatten that bitch up flat. And it's gonna look better, but it's still gonna be a 5.5.
Yeah.
Or 5. What do you think?
Or a 4.5 or a 4. We'll see when we're done.
Depends how many more flaws we introduce into it. Should we get out a black marker and write the price on it yet, or what?
We could, yeah, 15 cents.
This is a pretty hot book actually right now, eh?
It is.
ASM 194. This is what is it, January 7th, 2022?
No, I'm not sure.
Well, it's Ukrainian Christmas.
Oh, what's the date now?
What? Oh, January.
yeah.
Well, now it's January 8th because it's in the morning. But so anyway, stay tuned. Sorry for the long-winded conversations and the multiple clips of videos, but I feel like there's lots of people that are bored out there and don't really have much to watch anymore. I mean, I struggle with shows to watch. I watched Wheel of Time. I watched Hawkeye. I watched.
What do you think of Wheel of Time?
I feel like it had potential to be more.
Yeah,
like more Lord of the Rings, not Game of Thrones, but Lord of the Rings type stuff.
I feel they really dropped the ball in the last episode.
Yeah.
The first couple episodes weren't that good, and the last episode was horrible. In between, there was promise, and it's like, hey, this could be good, and then it just kind of wasn't.
See, the problem is, it's Robert Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Is the author of Wheel of Time. I'm a big Conan fan. I read lots of his novels. Growing up, Conan was always my favorite read. So whenever he did a novel, I was like, wow, this is a great book. I'd finish it in a day, kind of thing. I never read Wheel of Time, so I didn't know the story. So onus on me to compare the book to the TV show. But you actually read the books, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And
I feel they added too much just unnecessary elements to it instead of, there's a reason it was a fan favorite piece of fiction is because Robert Jordan's a good writer, and I don't think these writers that are rewriting it are that same caliber, but maybe think they are.
Yeah.
It's not just because they're not sticking to the source material. It does have to be condensed. It's 14 books, but they're just not doing a good job. So, whatever. It's just my opinion. So there was moments. There was moments where it's like, whoa, this is good, and then they really fumbled on the 1 yard line at the end.
What'd you think of The Witcher?
Excellent. Love The Witcher.
Yeah, Witcher really well done. I
Phenomenal.
thought. I was like, I wanted more. I'm like, can you give me 8 more episodes, please?
Yes.
Yeah. If it's and that's to me that's how I feel Conan could be done given the budget. Is there's not that many witches and warlocks and that sort of aspect to it, but there's definitely all kinds of demons and creatures, as you know, with Conan and
Right.
And I think if they did the whole how Conan came into power as a king.
Oh, I love the King Conan series. That's actually my favorite Conan series.
And how he, took over the world basically, became the dictator of the entire Hyborian age. If they did that properly, fantastic story. Lots of good battles. You know, if you're into, Spartacus and Gladiator and those types of shows.
Yeah, because you can intermix the flashbacks with the present of him ruling type thing.
Well, and I think what a lot of people don't understand if they've never read Conan, I've heard guys say, oh, he's like He-Man, he's just a strong man, blah, blah, blah. But Conan's actually a very intelligent person and a very good strategist, and that's why he became a world dictator, basically, is because...
and one was created in 1982, He-Man, and Conan was in, the early 1900s, so it's not that Conan is like He-Man, it's more He-Man is like Conan.
Well, and Conan was a prototype for a lot of the main superhero comics of today, actually, I think. I mean, you think of Kazar, right? Even before Kazar even, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
A lot of people don't know that Kazar and Tarzan were in pulps before comics,
Yep.
as was Conan, right? But I'm not a pulp historian by any means, and I don't own the first pulp Conan, but I plan to one day soon have it. But anyway, I think this comic is, with all this hearsay and conversation and TV reviews, do we have any other TV shows to talk about? I feel like this comic is pretty much good to clean now.
Yeah, the rest is all you.
Well, it's not. I mean, you, it's us.
Well, I'm not gonna clean it.
Well, I'm gonna clean it, but you gotta hold the camera. Why do I gotta do everything?
I mean, you can't clean and hold the camera at the same
Well,
time?
I'm only charging this guy $45 to press and play this comic. Look at the materials. I had to use this long shelf. You know what this costs in paint alone? Like one's semi-gloss and one's gloss. Like, look at this. All right, we're gonna pause the video. We're gonna go off to the cleaning table. If you haven't watched that video, you watch that video, and we're gonna demonstrate how I clean a comic. Now, if we introduce any more flaws into this book, I am not held responsible. There's a disclaimer. This is all purely in fun and experimental technology of restoration and conservation of comic. Well, not really restoration. Do you want to add a piece to this comic?
No.
Not even this, like, hole?
No. We could just fill that with marker.
Yeah.
If you just color the first page underneath, it'll kind of look like the cover. There's a Sharpie right over here somewhere. Actually.
Yeah, there is a black Sharpie over there. No, we don't want to do that to any of our books.
Why, we get people to scrawl Stan Lee over the front of the cover? I mean, this is just a little dog marker.
Wow, that's harsh. Rest in peace, Stan. Okay, you remind me of my dad, Stan, but anyway, let's go up to the cleaning table. All right, everybody. This is how I kind of clean a comic. We're on the cleaning table. So the first thing you want to do is scan the comic. And by scan the comic, I mean especially the edges for any nicks in the sides. Because anybody asks, well, do you wreck a comic pressing? No. I've only wrecked one comic pressing, and that was for a friend of mine. He wanted a Marvel .1 press, and the center page came out.
It was Amazing Fantasy 15.
Oh, okay, well, whatever.
Not the original, like.
Was that the totally awesome Hulk guy?
Yeah, Amadeus Cho.
Yeah. I don't know why the centerfold came out. Anyway, let's forget about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you want to scan the edges. So if there's any sort of nicks or tears, you just want to have that in the back of your mind, because you put pressure on the surroundings with erasers. Josh, can you come down here? Just give me the comment. You want to grab the remote and a little bit, and then so we're gonna scan the edges of the comic, make sure there's no nicks. And you know what? I do so much cleaning that I am guilty of not looking at this comic. There's not going to be much cleaning on the front because it's black. If it was a white cover, you obviously do a lot more erasing. You use dry erase. But the back is just going to be your standard process. Now, I'm not going to be able to get rid of this overspray, obviously. That's, God, that almost looks like a spray can. Like, I've had comics, I had a X-Men 94 signed by Chris Claremont I just sold this summer, and I regretted selling it, but it had a bunch of overspray on the back, too. This guy, that's like a bump of bird poop or something. I don't know what that is, but we'll try to get rid of that. The comic still feels a little soft to me, so I gotta be extra careful. I'm not used to cleaning it after I humidify it. Usually I do pre-cleanings before I touch the comic at all. But anyway, so we're gonna be wary of nicks. This comic, not too much nicks. I wouldn't be worried about, there's a little valley here, but we're gonna fix that in the press. The edges, you know, look pretty good and nothing really to be too concerned about. All right, I'm gonna pass the camera off. So my camera guy is probably... Did you just screw up the video again, Josh? You had one job to do. Did you see I had 3 hands? I had an iron, I had silicone paper, I had clamps, I had kettles. I don't know what I'm supposed to do on this thing. Is it just a team of 1? You can't even hold the damn... You don't even have a drink in your hand. Okay.
I'm not sure what I
So I don't even know what I just said. So let's hit repeat and
You're talking about where you bought your eraser.
Anyway, I bought this at the dollar store in Canada. In the United States, it's probably called Dollar General. It's just a cheap eraser. But what I've found on different ages of comics and different gloss types, you want to use different erasers. Generally, I just use these dollar store ones for copper and modern type stuff, and they work good enough. Because you know what? If they're you get 3 for $1. So if they last a few comics, who cares? But usually I clean about 200 comics with 1 eraser, so that's efficient. This here, yeah, a weird looking thing. It's just a wood block, piece of sandpaper. This is... All right, so someone keeps disrupting this video, so we're gonna have to do mass edits, and I'm an amateur at this. Anyway, where was I? I built this stupid little block. It's basically a piece of plywood and some sandpaper. It's got 220 grit on it. You could do any grit. Why I have this right here on my cleaning table? It's just to go like this and clean the eraser after I get it dirty. That's it.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't seen that on any other video, and if anybody steals it from me, just please give me credit. I obviously can't patent that, nor do I want to. It's just, you know, just FYI kind of thing. So, these techniques are not unique to me. There's lots of guys like Captain Mike out there and some other guys that, you know, there's lots of information out there on how to clean a comic. Again, buy a ruler at a dollar store. I got to replace this because I've cleaned so many comics with it and the edge is starting to get a little rough. But anyway, you just want to line it up against a comic like that. Protect the colored areas. I have this light, which I look through, and it magnifies the dirt on the comic. It also highlights the imperfections on the comic. You want to come here and look at through this light. This light you can purchase on Amazon for, I don't know what I paid, $80 Canadian, so like $60 American or whatever. So I don't know if you get a good view of that. So this is LED. I used to use fluorescent light, which gave me lots of eye strain. So I'm going to lightly clean this. I'm a little afraid that the comic might be a little damp yet, but
it's not our comic and we don't care.
Well, that, and I don't feel like there's much I can do on the comic. Now, a lot of guys say just clean the comic in one way. I haven't found that on white areas because I clean my erasers, which you highlighted in the video when I moved the eraser over to here, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just checking. So on this particular area, it looks like there may be a little bit of bird poop or whatever that is. It could be your poop. I don't know. There's this tool you can buy on Amazon. Here, can you get that name in there? Do you need the light? I don't know what it's called.
www.scottypeeler.com.
So this is actually for removing labels off stuff. I gotta get a new one because I've used it so much and it's worn down. I tried to fix the edges by actually sanding it on my block. So I use this often to help remove labels or pieces of grime and dirt like that. There's also this other guy. Shaky hands. But this is like a steel one. Now this is fantastic for moving labels on covers, or price tags, and maybe I'll do a video on that. But basically you just work it under the label and slowly go like that, and don't peel back on the label, but work it underneath. And you might get a little bit of tar still left on the cover, but then you use one of these gum erasers is what it's called, and they cost, you know, $3 to $4 to $5 or whatever, and you just rub it across the comic, and as you can see, it's got a little bit of gum on it. So that's another video, and I'm sure there'll be lots of videos out there on how to do that. I don't get into that too often. Usually my comics are mint and I don't have to do any of this. I just press for others. No, not true. Not true. I graded so many 9s tonight. I was like, oh God, when do I get a 9.6? So I'm looking at this and I feel like there's a little bit of shit on there. And sometimes I use it sideways. And as you can see, it took a little bit of it off already. And I feel like that is just a bunch of goop on there. Now, folks, don't try this at home and don't judge me for my incompetence on cleaning comics. But sometimes this is the best way. They clean shoes this way, so I just lick this piece of, it's called a web roll handy pad. Another thing I bought on Amazon to clean comics. Nice soft pad of paper for high grade comics, but this is a shitty comic, so I'm spending too much money on this comic already. But I'm just gonna lick this with my tongue.
You want this in the video?
I don't know how else you lick things. No, I don't want my... Anyway, I'm just gonna lightly... Now you could use baby wipes from the dollar store as well. Sometimes those work. Now I got the roughness off that, and I'm not going to touch it anymore because I can't do anything more with it without damaging the comic. And right there, that crease there, if I get that moist and I run an eraser against there, I could potentially tear that comic. I've done that before, so I know that. So unfortunately that didn't work out the way it was supposed to, but maybe that piece of bird poop on the other side. And this is all very stressful being on camera, by the way, because I've heard that I sound like a frog once in a while.
That must be one in your throat.
What? Well, what do you sound like?
I don't know. Articulate, intelligent.
So again, you line up the ruler with the edge, keep the white space on the right. So now what you want to be careful of, make sure there's no ticks along the side of the comic.
Or a big tear there.
Yeah, because if you catch that with that eraser, that rip will go all the way to that ruler for sure, right? And I've done this before where I'm in a hurry and didn't pay attention. And I'm like, oh, I did that on a Tomb of Dracula 10. I bought it off Heritage. Beautiful book. I'm like, oh God, I gotta clean and press this. I'm so excited for this. And I didn't scan the comic, and it was about that much of a little nick. I caught it with the eraser and I didn't have my ruler. I was just bracing it with my fingers. That rip became an inch. So just caution on bigger books, right? There's not much to clean on this guy, right? I could do with that, but always brace it with either your fingers or a ruler. If you're going close to the edge, just move your ruler over to brace that comic and reinforce it and give it strength. That's so important. Like I said, I can go back and forth. A lot of guys say just go one direction because you're rubbing dirt into the comic. I do not believe that's true. Clean your eraser often on the sandpaper. Has anyone, do you know of any of my notes that came back from CGC? Did they mention anything about cleaning or anything like that?
Very few notes on our 9.6 and 9.8.
Oh, well, that's nice. So we got this piece of bird poop. There is like it. Look, I can grab it. It moves the comic, so it's something. Now, this is a tricky area because there's obviously a fold in this comic right there. So I'm gonna start with the plastic one. I might go to the metal tool, but let's just see if this comes off. I don't think this one's sharp enough because it's old, and like I said, I gotta get a new one, but it's like tar. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the metal one. Now you could potentially heat this up with that steam. Oh, see? Now I'm gonna go away from the crease. And this is, again, you gotta, I feel like, so you just slowly scrape away at it and take some away from it. Starting to look better already, a little better. I think it's always gonna leave a stain and there's not much we can do about it, but at least when we press it, it'll be flat. As you can see, material keeps coming away from that. I don't know, it must be glue, or maybe it's a booger. You think it's a booger?
Possible.
How many times did you put boogers in your comics when you were a kid?
Oh, probably every time I read one.
I'm just trying to get it flat. It's kind of like, you know, if you work on wood, it's kind of like planing. I think of cleaning comics as sanding, basically, and polishing. It's paper, wood. It's wood. So if you've ever worked on, you know, nice wood, you slowly go down with different grits of sandpaper and you polish it. So I just have a normal paintbrush here that I bought at the dollar store again to brush away articulate. See how we're going? Just do a finger feel. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get any better than that. As you can see on the other side of the comic, it has stained it a bit. So I'm gonna do the lick test on my cleaning pad because I like tasting old comics so much. I don't know why I got kidney cancer, but this could be part of it. And it did lighten it up a bit, but there's not much else I can do with it, right? So I was just hoping to get rid of that ridge, and I did. So when I press it, it comes back flat. Obviously, it's not going to affect the grade on this wonderful comic. Can we align the ruler with the edge? Anybody fall asleep yet? God.
I'm almost falling asleep.
Well, obviously you hit stop and record 5 times. You stepped on my vacuum cleaner 3 times. You misclamped the comic twice. And you had less to drink than I did. So,
I don't think that's true.
oh, did you have pre-drinks?
Oh, I had 2 whiskeys before we left for Earl's.
And I had 3 beer before you got here.
I think my whiskeys are a little more than your 2 beer.
Oh, you mean the 3 whiskeys that I bought?
No, in your house here.
Oh, well, who bought them?
Oh, you bought the bottle.
I don't know why we don't quite communicate well. All right, so we align it still. So again, scan first. Like, I'm cleaning because I've done this before. To me, it's getting whiter on the magnifier glass. I don't know what it looks like on the camera, but here's a trouble area right here. Just there's no nick, but it's soft there. So you want to be careful of your pressure. A lot of times on these comics, you can put lots of pressure on these erasers if there's no defects. If there's defects, creases, folds, you want to be careful. Now, corners, like that, I didn't really demonstrate that before. I'll highlight it now, especially now. You do want to go away from the corner. So strokes this way, because if you come back, you will have a tendency with this eraser to catch the edge and fold over the comic, introducing tears and defects. So get the edge nice and right, and then take your time. Don't be in a rush. Go like that. This area I'm going to put a little more pressure on because I feel like it can be cleaned and it's not coming out. And I'm going to go to one of these pencil erasers, which you can also buy on Amazon with refills. because I feel like it's in a dent right here. Not that it matters on this grade of comic. There, now we did the exterior. I always start going around the back edge like that, and then I clean off the table. Clean off the book, just to get rid of the crap. And then I will re-look at the comic. Now, we get a bunch of yellow. Yellows can be cleaned with erasers too. A lot of people don't do that, and they say, oh, people wreck comics going back and forth on color. That's true, but yellows are pretty much whites. You can do light brush strokes on yellow. Not hard. You will cause color rub. There my eraser went. Another technique, which I will highlight here. So we have this block. We have this eraser. Let's create lots of shrapnel. And this is the safe technique to clean color. I got the old eraser on there, I got the new eraser out, I don't really care. Let's just put that on there. Then you just rub that around with your fingers. Now you can buy the pads, and I have one. Just keep focus there. Let me grab the pad. If I can find it. They're called a dry cleaning pad. I bought this and I used it once. So as you can see, amateur me, what you're supposed to do is you're actually supposed to squeeze it and it drops. Basically, these same types of eraser type stuff, a little different. It almost feels like a little bit of sandpaper and it's gritty. I tried to use this on a first appearance of Poison Ivy, which was a good book. And I took this bag and I rubbed it back and forth across the comic, and I'm like, geez, that sounds really gritty. And then I lifted it up, and yeah, it you know those girls you wake up to in the middle of the night and you go, geez, her face kind of looks like sandpaper. Yeah, Poison Ivy looked like sandpaper after, so don't recommend that. And I haven't used that bag since, but I was using it wrong. You actually have to drop the particles on and kind of do this process. But I feel like these erasers don't have that grit in it, and you can get the same sort of thing. So if you wanted to buy like an old coffee grinder, stick some old erasers in there or whatever and grind them up to little chunks like this, you get the same result and probably a little safer in my mind. But I am not an expert. I am still just learning, just like everybody else. So you just roll it around like that. Get the yellows, and I still didn't clean this white area or whatever, but I was like, oh, let's just do it all, whatever. I'm actually spending a lot more time on this comic than I normally would, but it's just to highlight some of the techniques that I would possibly use on a higher grade book, not this lower grade thing that someone tasked me, challenged me to do. So you see there's a lot of shrapnel there from just what I used with sandpaper and eraser. And there's part of the reason I have the vacuum cleaner attachment on this cleaning table, if you watch the prior video, is so that you could step on the button, which someone has done multiple times, to turn it on and suck up the shrapnel. If only we could do that right now, as a demonstration of the sucking power of the vacuum. Oh, there we go. Now wow, this video is all coming to fruition. Look at that. Let's clean this up. Yep, there we go. That's good. Clean the brush. I guess we're done with the suction. I wasn't really done cleaning.
Oh, I can turn it back on.
I bet you like turning on the clock. All right. So now we scan our comic again. We go, okay, do we gotta clean this wet area? No, it came pretty clean. Take a look at it, get up close. I'll shine the light. How's it look? Like,
Yeah.
can I get it any cleaner?
I don't think so.
So what I do then, I grab a smoke sponge is what they're called. They're actually for removing, this is an older one, but I got many. I bought a whole box from Amazon for like $100 or whatever. These are smoke sponges. They're for removing smoke from walls and houses that have had fires, actually. They're called cleaning sponges, but mostly smoke sponges. And sometimes they'll call it a document cleaning sponge. It's the same thing, and they'll charge you more. I just look for a smoke sponge and like a box of them on Amazon, like $100. You get like 40 or something. I mean, or you can go to a lumberyard, and they'll sell these to you for like $10 or something dumb. But I suggest getting on Amazon, get free shipping, and save a lot of money. And I always make the mistake. These dry out over time, so I always keep it in a plastic bag. I always forget to do that because I have so many and I'm stupid. But anyway, you just rub that against the back, and this will get all the final grime and dirt. Just, you know, light to medium pressure. As you can tell by the color of the sponge, it does pick up some grime and dirt over time. And I use this on every book. Every book will get the smoke sponge. And as you can see, I'm working away. I'm not pulling it back across, because if I pull it back across, I could bend that book over. And I just go by actually the sound of the smoke sponge. Just how it sounds, and you'll get used to it. Like, that's good enough. And then I give it a final brush over. Clean the area so that what I just cleaned is not dirty. Now, like I said, this is a black cover, so there's not going to be much to clean. We're going to clean this UPC symbol. We're going to clean this white area, maybe your hair, or you know, we're not going to gain anything. We're not going to gain anything here, but this is just for demo purposes, right? So I take this guy in the UPC, slightly go. There's a different size one if you're anal retentive. There's a mini and a medium, I guess is what you want. So very few times I actually use that. But you will, when you do this, you want to go with light pressure first. And if you got stubborn stuff and you notice that no ink is coming off the UPC symbol, you can go a little harder. Or you can go back to the eraser and the sandpaper, get your filings, put it on there, and slowly rub it around, and you're good. Same thing with this whole big yellow thing, yellow circle. That's when we would do that same process we did on the back. So this video is taking a lot longer. Usually each comic I spend about 5 to 10 minutes cleaning it. This I'm spending a lot more time than this comic's worth. That's all I'm cleaning for there, because anything more, I'm just going to introduce damage. As you can tell, there's blue, there's black, there's white. I've cleaned so many of these comics that I just know I'm not going to get any color rub, and it's basically about the amount of pressure you apply. Now, take a look at that. I think that's production type stuff or tar. So I'm going to take the cleaning cloth first. Well, first I'm going to get rid of the goo. I'm going to try the smoke sponge first, because I feel like that's tar. It looks like tar. Now I'm going to take my cleaning cloth. And it's on there good. Now I'm going to try the lick. She wishes, right? Nope. Well, maybe a little bit it came off. So now that's when we get in there with that fine eraser. Now the thing is with the lick, if you licked it too much, your comic's gonna be damp, and you don't want to go there until it dries off.
Might damage it.
That's right, because it'll be soft. So we'll move on to a different area and let that just dry for a few seconds. That's basically it. So now the yellow here, like I said, you can take an eraser to it. You just gotta do it very lightly. I'm just gonna do I'm just not even applying pressure to that. Take a look at that eraser. You do get some color up. Very light. So if you're getting that, that means you gotta be even lighter. Now, some of you might go, well, I wouldn't do that. I would just do this. Yeah, that's a good idea. All depends on the book and what grade you're gonna get back, in my mind. So if you're a purist and you're like, oh my God, what's he doing? He's an idiot. I'm okay with that. And also by this method, we clean the black area a little bit too, but we haven't gone with the smoke sponge yet either. So may as well do the rest of the yellow area with the same process. Creates more shrapnel. I gotta change my sandpaper. I'm thinking instead of 220, it probably should be 180 or 200, but now, again, you want to brace this comic. You might even want to put the ruler on that edge until you get into the fine details. You want to brace it with your fingers. You want to support the comic as much as possible. The staples are solid, so I'm not too worried about it shifting that way. But if you have a comic that's really creased and yeah, lots of defects, extra caution. Very little pressure. So the less defects that a comic has, the more pressure you can apply and the more freedom you have to clean it. But generally those comics have less cleaning to do as well. So as you can see, I'm not being too careful about which direction. I'm just rolling these erasers. I'm not using gloves. I don't have greasy hands. If you got oily hands, wear gloves. A lot of guys wear the latex gloves. I don't have that problem. I don't have too many CGC notes coming back with fingerprints. And the few I do, I feel like they were my graders or the graders when they touch them. So very few. So should we worry about that, or should we say that's good enough? I want to try with the little eraser now.
Try with the little eraser then.
I just feel like that's in there. Like no matter how hard I push. Now you can buy electric erasers like this with like a AA battery, I think, in them. It might even be in this size. I've seen guys use them, and I think they'd be real good at doing spines, but I'd be wary on comics like this. Like I feel like this is tar. Like I want to move to her arm here.
I'm just happy you're using wary correctly. A lot of people say weary because they're tired instead of cautious.
Kind of like you were?
Yeah, I'm a little weary.
Oops. Oh yeah, by the way, safety moment, do not clean comics after you've had multiple drinks at night. Especially on a key.
Unless it's not your book and it's low grade.
Well, that's not the correct attitude as a dealer, Josh, but yes. So, yeah, I don't feel like I'm doing any good there. I'm gonna start doing damage. So I'm gonna do one final cleaning with this, then I'm gonna go with the smoke sponge, and then I'm gonna do the cloth, and then I'm gonna have a final cloth cleaning and done. Notice we didn't do this area, Josh.
I didn't think we were using real names.
We aren't, but you're kind of a joke, and Josh is a joke, isn't it?
Oh, I see.
We cleaned this area already, right?
Yes, we did.
Are you sure?
You did, anyway.
Does it look any better? Because I can't tell.
It's still...
Moderate?
Yeah,
Moderate?
still some yellow and some red and blue and black in there.
Yeah, it's pretty faded and whatever. But I think once we actually press this comic, it will obviously get rid of the creases.
Probably be about a 9.2.
Even with this big line in this.
Oh, well, we'll press that out, I'm sure.
Oh, okay. Well. All right. Just make sure we're all clean here. Do a smoke sponge clean. Get rid of the final grit. Again, I'm bracing the comic just with my fingers. You got greasy fingers. I don't know how many porn magazines you look at in a day or whatever you do, but anyway, you might want to wear gloves. I don't have too many issues with that, but because I'm going to do a final wipe down after that. Why I put this particular mat on this cleaning table is just kind of grip the comic and protect it a little bit. I do have to change it because I've cleaned so many and it's wearing. So even with this smoke sponge, if I caught that nick right there, that hole, I could potentially rip that comic like that. And I did that on one guy's Golden Age comic. It was like a 2 to begin with, and I turned it into a 0.5 basically, but it was like he paid like 20 bucks for it, and I was like, I don't really want to clean that comic because it's got so many defects on it, and I'll just wreck it. And he's like, well, do what you can. And then I messaged him the next day, and I'm like, yeah, I wrecked your comic. I don't know, to me that the gloss and everything looks a lot better to me, but it could be because I'm red-eyed. So we just give it a final wipe down before we take it down to the press. Just to get, so why I do this is because if you don't, you will get some of these little eraser guys, dimples. You don't see them, but they're there, and they're evil things, especially on modern comics. Copper and bronze are very forgiving on that. Modern comics, the slightest little piece of dirt, you will have a dimple that you will be fighting with for 1 to 5 presses. So always take time. So that's about it. Now we're gonna hit stop. We're gonna go down the press and put it in the press. All right, so I'm not gonna show you guys how I load the comic completely, but basically what I do is I just have a little stiffer. I don't even know what point this is. I don't know what this is. It's cardstock. This is what's called parchment paper. I get that from the dollar store as well. I just fold it over, put it in there, and I put that in between the comic cover and the rest of the comic, and that's it. But you got to reinforce the center too. I do something different than anybody else. I'm not going to share that with anybody right now. Yeah, we got silicone. So on this particular press, what I do, most people just use. Do you need to yawn constantly on the video, or
I don't think anyone can hear that.
Is this boring to you?
Well, I've seen
You said that you wanted me to show the entire world how to better press comics. Anyway, so on presses, there is this spongy material, and I'm like, well, why do I want any give to my press I want to get pressure on that thing and not have it any forgiving. So I cut these hardboard boards, a 1/4 inch thick, smooth flat surface. You probably put the comic right on that, but I don't. I put the silicone release paper. Oops. And then I put the damn comic back on there. And then I put another sheet of release paper. This one is getting close to being replaced. You can use both sides. As you can tell, that's started to get brown, and I flipped it up the other side. This one's starting to color, but you still got a few more presses out of it. And that's about it. And turn on the press. Just the pressure up here once it gets there. What are we at? We're at 6. We're good to go. We'll let that get to 215 degrees Fahrenheit. Or is it? Yeah, Fahrenheit F. We made that mistake on the last video. It'll take about approximately 3 minutes to get there. A lot of guys say they press their books for 10 minutes or whatever. I don't really worry about it with this press. I just get it up to its temperature. It beeps. It tells me when it's got to the temperature, and I shut it off and I walk away for 24 hours. Or 12 hours, whatever. Sometimes if it's a book I know that I want to press front and back again, I will come back in 4 to 8 hours and flip it over and reheat the press and do it. I don't have to do that very often. Like maybe once in every 100 comics I kind of do that. Usually I just press it once like this and it's pretty good. So anyway, that's the end of the video. We will check back tomorrow and see what the comic looks like. But yeah, you think it'll be good?
I think it'll look flatter. Grade will be about the same, but it'll look way better.
You know what? If I could do the same process that we did on this comic to you tonight, I feel like I would be the Richard Simmons of 2022.
Possibly.
Do you think there'd be a market for?
Oh, for me, a better looking me,
obese people?
Whoa, heavy set, stocky.
Well, your BMI is what, 35?
Oh, it goes up every time we talk.
Well, when you yawn, it's
pretty 22.
22. Wow, you know, I think when you build when you're a bodybuilder, what is it, like 8% is optimal kind of thing?
I don't know. I've never been a bodybuilder.
Have you ever considered it?
No.
Look, you kind of have the structure of it. It's like you have potential. It's just I think you're lacking
motivation, work ethic.
Keep going.
Story of my life in all aspects.
One of the things you might want to consider before buying a press, before we go for the night. I know you guys, if you stuck around this long and you haven't, you know, slit your wrists or hung yourself, these presses and many others can be wired for 220. If you're handy with electricity or whatever, and your electrical panel can handle 220, i.e. you'll have to get a double wide breaker, probably a 30 amp or 40 amp breaker, depending upon the size of your press. I would suggest that. There's benefits to using the 220 over the 120. This is just 120. The problem with this is, as you know, or I don't know why did it beep? Did you change the program mode on this?
Because the timer went down to 0.
No. Oh, that's true. But so this particular press, it has different program modes. I think up to 25 or 30. I'm not trying to sell this press or anything, but
we have some extra in stock.
And they're only $10,000. No, this has different programs. Someone must have hit the program button while they stepped on the vacuum button.
Clearly the vacuum button is wired into the press programming button.
Anyway, it's supposed to beep when it gets to the heating thing. That beeped for, I don't know why. That was a preheat temperature, I think. I'll have to research that tomorrow. But anyway, where I was going with the 220 or whatever, and the physics of electricity, before it was really interrupted by that beep that someone else caused, not
clearly it's
end
always
user
someone else's
experience.
fault. Yeah.
Well, I do have an external locus of control. If you don't know what that means, that basically means that everybody else is to blame but you. If you have an internal locus of control, it's a psychology term. Both of those are. Is that where you basically blame yourself for everything?
What if you're
that
in the
happens?
middle? What are you then?
Well, that just means you're balanced between internal and external.
I feel very balanced.
Anyway, we covered a lot of topics tonight. We covered obesity. We covered comets hitting the Earth and causing great floods. The Hiawatha. Definitely check out the Hiawatha crater on YouTube. It's like a crazy crater under the ice shields of Greenland. And they think it hit, well, there's actually multiple craters, but the Hiawatha is the big one, like 41 miles wide. Like, just, yeah, it definitely caused the floods in the Bible. Like, it definitely just about wiped us out. Anyway, what were we talking about? Electricity?
Yeah, the
220.
physics, yeah.
The 220. What was it about? There was something before you beeped at me. Well, you distracted me.
You recommend 220 over it.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. So on a typical electrical line, you're allowed 1500 watts per 15 amp breaker. So what that means is if you have 100-watt light bulbs, if you don't have LED and you're old school like me, that means you're allowed basically 16 lights on a line before you blow the breaker. This particular press will probably use 1500 watts of electricity, which most of them do. With a 220, I believe you get more current. Is it more current?
Probably, yeah.
I think you get more current, right? Which heats up the press faster. Yeah.
You can probably run your lights at the same time.
And the lights at the same time. Or in this particular case, you could just upgrade your lights to LED and then they probably won't blow the breaker. But I find if I put on the lights on the same circuit, sometimes I blow the breaker and sometimes not. So now we're at, what did I say, 215? I lied. Actually, it goes off at 205, but it continues. It's just, even though the press shut off, it's continuing to heat up and it'll probably stop about 215. And it says ready. That means, so you got to realize this is basically meant for t-shirts, not for comics. So when it says ready, it's like, okay, go to work, start pressing, making t-shirts. Sometimes I wonder if that's a more lucrative business than comic books. Here's a cool treasury, by the way. I know I'm rambling on, but I find that the Star Wars #3 treasuries are the hardest ones to get out of the Star Wars 1, 2, and 3.
Lower print run, end of run.
Yeah. They are reprints. I mean, the covers are, this is done by Ernie Chan, 1978. So Ernie Chan did a lot of Conan comic books, which I love. All right, that's it. Sorry to bore you all these many hours. We will look at the comic tomorrow. Have a good Ukrainian Christmas yesterday and look forward to New Year's Eve. Unless you're Russian and you're trying to invade us right now. Well, I didn't sleep very good. Might have had something to do with something I was consuming last night. But anyway, I took the book we experimented on yesterday out of the press, brought it upstairs, just to have a quick look at it. It was just pressed once, and the spinal correction we played around with twice, but it looks a lot better already. If it was a bigger book, you'd probably want to, maybe try to get this spine roll perfect, but the problem is with some of these books, they're not necessarily cut the same, and depending where the staples are placed, you could be fighting a losing battle for some time. So on a book like this, it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to get it exactly perfect and square, but it's a pretty good job. Just for, two drunk idiots winging it kind of thing. Take a look at the back. Now, this is what I'm talking talking about like the paper is still shifted there, so you might want to fix that on a bigger book. But like the problem is you're going to start to pull on that staple, right? So that's where you got to be careful on the spine roll, for sure. But if it's a miscut book, one side will be square, the other side you'll be struggling to get that square, and you'll never get a square unless you get out your scissors and make that thing square. So anyway, after any project, you should do a lessons learned on what worked well and what didn't work well. Number one, I would probably get a better cameraman while filming this. Someone turned on a vacuum multiple times and distracted me and played loud music and probably didn't focus the camera very well. But the spine rule contraption that we configured, I feel like that's probably a pretty good thing to do. You could make one out of melamine and just a board for backing, like not even a 2x4, like a 1x4 to butt the comic up against, or a piece of plywood and then hardwood or hardboard, sorry, not hardwood. And why I would like the hard board is that it's got a completely smooth surface, and then you put your Teflon paper on there, which we forgot to do, and then the comic, and then Teflon paper again, and then put your board on top of that and clamp it down. So that way you don't introduce too many foreign particles into the comic that you want to press and possibly submit to CGC. So there's that. So the thing is, to fix spine rolls, I have barely had to do any of them. Been fortunate enough. Pressing temperature, we use that little steam iron. That seemed to work really well. What I would probably do differently next time, if you watch my video on fixing a really bad creased comic before, you noticed that I had a humidification chamber. I would stick this comic before I attempted to fix the spine roll into the humidification chamber. First, to get the moisture on the inside of the book, thereby making it a lot more pliable and easier to work with. And probably I should have tried that first and then tried to just flatten it out, and that probably would have worked, and then possibly steam it on the outside. But again, it's a cold day here in Canada and very dry, so humidity doesn't last too long, and it's kind of a struggle to get these books moist. So yeah, that's probably all the hints and tips I have for that. And hopefully my friend who gave me this comic to play with is happy with the result. Definitely looks better and more presentable. So yeah, hopefully he doesn't get mad at me for using his comic as an example and a prototype for process. And that's one thing you want to keep in mind whenever you're doing this. You can watch whatever you want on the internet. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the best way of doing it. There's lots of people doing standard techniques. Some people are fooling around with wet cleaning comics, which is, might be a really big time saver in the future for a lot of us instead of dry cleaning. Me licking the cleaning cloth and trying to get rid of goo, that's usually okay on glossy type comics. Ones that are faded like this and have a lot of wear on it or whatever, you could potentially damage the comic. And I wouldn't suggest it if you just had spaghetti and meat sauce, because chances are you will put a red stain on your comic. So please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, check out my store on Etsy. It's Bad Guy Comics. Why I chose Bad Guy Comics obviously is I'm not that good. It's I could register Good Guy Comics, but I didn't think that was appropriate. So it's Bad Guy Comics on Etsy. Soon to be on badguycomics.com. I don't know when the release date is. I got a whole bunch of comics I gotta scan into the internet and deal with technology and stuff, so that's gonna take some time. Anyway, if you want to see more videos like this, please leave a comment. Any other hints and suggestions you have for other people watching these videos would be appreciated in the comments. And I like building relationships and networking with other people that are pressing books, because maybe they have some techniques that they could share. I feel like someone's going to take this the spiral correction technique, and they're going to take it and put it on the internet and try to make it their own and possibly improve it, which is fine. Otherwise I wouldn't share it. So anyway, you guys have a good day, and thank you for watching this extremely long video if you made it through the entire thing. Hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.